Okay, this is August 25th, first lecture of Biology 105. Everything's working, testing, testing. Okay, good. Welcome. We have a big class this semester. I'm very excited. We're gonna do the standard first day stuff. I talk about me, we talk about you, we talk about the Canvas page, we run over all the information that you need to succeed in this course. Okay, sound cool? So, let's go ahead and get the modules section opened up. And let's get that week 1 PowerPoint, because I've got some slides, introduction PowerPoint open. Okay, close, 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 great. Okay, first of all, this is Biology 105. If you're not trying to be in Biology 105, then get to your class, because that's what we're doing here, okay? Our course meets in person Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 to 11:50. Our labs are all in Science B 132. It's on the bottom floor of Science B in the back corner, all right? Every lab section is held there. This is a unique semester because I'm teaching 4 different courses, and none of those courses is a lab section of Biology 105. Usually your instructor will be teaching a lab section, and you can come and meet me there. But it's all TAs for the lab this semester, okay? Your TAs should be fully informed. We've got pre-lab videos and things like that. I'll give you more details about how the lab's going to work as we move through today. But those are the locations. You're in the right spot here, Founders Hall 118 for lecture. All labs are in Science B 132. How to reach me? I'm in Science D, which is now called Alastair McCrone Hall. Alastair McCrone Hall, room 169. I should have a picture. I don't have a picture of it. It is the old engineering building. Let's just show you a picture of where it's at. Right over here. Yeah. So here we are up in Founders Hall, like way up here near the top. All right. Alastair McCrone Hall is the strange curved building with all the glass across from SBS. Anybody got any questions about that? Solid. I've got office hours. I have 3 office hours every week available. Those office hours are Mondays 12 to 1, okay? Tuesdays and Thursdays 10 to 10:50, or email me to set up an appointment outside of those office hours. I have a very full schedule this semester. However, I am happy to try to make times work with you. I project this just because, it's good to see what times are blocked out. This will also be posted on my office door. I'm printing out my door card today. Cool so far? Awesome, I love it. Let's do the part where I get to talk about me. That's very exciting for me. All right. My name is John Montgomery. I got my bachelor's here in botany back when it was Humboldt State University in 2013. It only took me 5 years. That's pretty good timeline. All right. I got my PhD immediately after in plant physiology at UC Riverside. All right. I got that degree in 2019, and as soon as I finished that PhD program, I came to Humboldt State University. I came here as an undergraduate. I loved this place. I loved the classes. I took classes in the same rooms that you're going to take classes here, and I wanted to never leave Humboldt County. And I figured the only way to do that and have a comfortable status of living was to teach at the university. And so I went off and I did that, and now here I am. All my dreams have come true. I'm living on a pink cloud, and I'm never coming down, ever. I never get sad or disappointed or angry. It doesn't happen. Disillusionment? Not me. Question. Even in the winter? No, even in the winter, I'm never sad. I feel great. No, I don't need sunlight, thankfully. I teach a lot of classes here. Many of you have been in my classes before. Many of you will be in my classes in the future. These classes include plant ecology and the plant ecology lab, which are great options if you need a 300-level botany course, all right? You can take the lecture and the lab separately. Not a lot of people know that. You could just take the lab as like a 1-unit thing. You meet once a week. You learn how to do Excel statistics. Anybody interested? I teach principles of ecology a lot here. I just started teaching natural resource conservation in the ESM department. I also teach their natural history and ecology course in ESM 303. I've taught plant physiology. I've taught botany 105, lab sections. I teach all sorts of stuff. You will see me again, all right, if you stick around at Cal Poly Humboldt. I love this place. I love my classes. I don't know. I'm just thrilled to be here with all of you. There's a UC Riverside picture. There's the big clock tower. Go Highlanders. Yay, it was great. It's like 119 degrees there right now. And I couldn't be happier to not be there anymore, all right? But if you're from Riverside or any of that area, I spent 6 years there. It was a cool time. I liked it, Okay, Canvas, course materials, SI, labs. We're going to go over all that stuff today. But everybody's laughed a little bit already, which means the ice is already cracked. We're going to do a really fast icebreaker thing that gets me an idea of what the makeup of the class is. I want to know what majors you're from, is what I'm trying to tell you. Because that's good for me to know. And it's good for you to be able to look around the room and be like, oh, there's another forestry major back there. Maybe I should talk to them about how much we hate this class and about how John's fly was down the entire time. We're good today. We're good today. All right, so let's go through and I'm going to ask about some majors. Just raise your hand, look around, see your compatriots in the room. Who's a bio major? Anybody doing general bio? Okay, we got some bio. All right, good. You already know each other? All right. How about botany? We got botany, folks. I love it. Botany, 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 all over the place. Wildlife majors? There's usually a good representation of wildlife majors in here. I love it. Great. Thank you for being in Bio 105. Let's see. What else do we have? We've got marine bio majors sometimes. We've got some marine bio people. All right. There you are. You're all in the same row. Very good. Chemistry majors. Solid. Anybody doing that biochem major now? Yeah, you're doing the biochem one? You like it so far? Good, that's awesome. I'm happy to hear it. It's important. We need biochemists. My good friend John Hellender, he got a PhD in biochemistry, and now he's very successful in Manhattan doing stock trading work. He also runs an Instagram page called Wiggly_Candy, where he reviews sour candies. Everybody, please follow him. Cool. Let's see what other majors. Forestry majors? Anybody in forestry? We do have forestry. Solid. Good. Great. Welcome. Let's see. What have I missed? ESM. We got ESM people. And what did you say? Of course. Okay. Let's do ESM. Hands in the air. We got a few. Good to see you again. Zoe. Sick. Who's in that one? Who's doing zoology? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. What have I missed? Who's got another one I haven't mentioned? Environmental resource engineering. Great. Hands in the air. Very good. What was the other one? Fisheries. That's great. My partner got a degree in fisheries from this institution and now is a teacher, which is pretty cool because, it's good to have everything in common with your partner and have the Venn diagram should be one circle, right? That's healthy. My therapist says it's not healthy, but what does she know? All right. Anyways, what else have I missed, folks? Oceanography. Oceanography is a major. It exists. We have representation in this room from the oceanography major. I love it. Anybody doing like geology? Yeah, sick, right in the front. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you. Who else? Yes, we got a major? Rangeland. I always forget about rangeland. My PhD worked with turf grass, so I'm tangentially related to rangeland science. Cool. Anybody else that I missed? Yeah. Psychology. Is anybody else here? We've got another one. We have 4 psych majors. No, there's more. You're not alone. Yeah. See, this is why it's a good icebreaker, because you never know who's going to end up in Bio 105. We get a lot of students in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Did I miss anybody's major? Yes. Environmental studies, not ESM, environmental studies. Different classes. A great major, a good option. And anybody else in it? We got one. Yes? Oh, mechanical engineering. Anybody in the engineering? Wow. All the engineering students. Okay, cool. That's awesome. There's more and more engineering students, you know. It's very exciting to see. Did I miss anybody else? Yeah, please. Kinesiology, of course. Who's kinesiology? This is like your last hard bio, right? Course that you have to take. You don't have to take genetics in that one, right? Or anything like that. So yeah, I get kinesiology majors in my summer course sometimes, and that's what I hear. It's like Bio 105 is the last non-applied biology course. Thank you all for being here from kinesiology. Very good. I'll be monitoring your posture, I suppose. What else? Did we got anybody else? Any other majors? Yes. Geospatial science. I had one of those in my ESM 105 class today. Welcome. Anybody else from that one? You got another. Yeah. You have an ally in this room. Yep. Very good. Solid. Anybody else that I missed? So you see why that's a nice, it's a nice icebreaker. I'm really always so excited at the variety of people I have in this class. My goal is to get you after Bio 105 to the point where you can talk to biologists, you can do all the basic lab work. I want you to be able to leave Bio 105 and be able to go out and get a biology job, basically. Even if it's mixing chemicals in lab prep work. There's all these things that need to get done. There's all this biology work. It's really exciting if you really end up loving working in the lab. It's good stuff. So my goal is to get you to the point where you have basic scientific literacy in biology. And I'm going to hit a bunch of stuff that might surprise you and feel off topic, things like basic probabilities and statistics, but those are going to be covered briefly just because I feel like they're very important for any budding scientist. Okay. We're going to look at the syllabus now, lecture slides, the grading system. We'll go through all of this. I want to mention that we will have labs this week, okay? Everybody in this room, your labs should be on Thursdays, unless I'm terribly mistaken. And as mentioned before, all of the labs are being taught by TAs. I'm not teaching one of your lab sections, which breaks my heart. Just my schedule filled up. However, I'm very familiar with all these labs, and I am more than happy to meet with you, discuss the lab, discuss how it went, go over your lab assignments, whatever. I'm happy to do that. Communication is really key in this course, even if it is a large one, okay? So yeah, there will be a couple things you need to do before each lab starts. Ready? Before each lab, you should go to the lab materials page and watch the lab pre-lecture. You should also download and print out the handout, okay? I'm going to do my very best to keep this Canvas page nice and tight and organized so that there's not a bunch of extraneous information. So you watch the pre-lab video lecture, okay? This will be the PowerPoint. It's going to be Mark Wilson's doing these pre-lab video lectures. We do our best to keep our 2 sections synced up. So we didn't record 2 separate pre-lab videos. So, I didn't really want to do that. It's okay. Sometimes you say no to things, and that's all right. So we watched the pre-lab video lecture. That'll give you your background information, and it will go over the structure of that week's lab. Mark will be presenting a PowerPoint when he does this. There's the PowerPoint presentation, and then you need to print this file and bring it to your lab, all right? You really just want to get in the habit of printing these out and bringing them. You don't want to be like, I don't have it, I got to leave in the middle of lab and print it out. These are going to be really, really key, okay? They're going to be really important for your success in the lab, is having all of these protocols and taking notes on them during your lab section. Here's the thing, okay? Oh, yes, please, a question, yeah.
Do you have them digitally or on the computer, or do you need them paper?
Print them out and put them in a 3-ring binder, because you have, I don't grade lab notebooks, but you have a lab final exam that is open lab notebook. Students who keep a lab notebook with good notes and keep it well organized get 100% and walk out the door with a 100-point assignment just, in their pocket. Super mellow. Students who decide not to keep a lab notebook or just have their lab notebook be a pile of printed documents, they score lower, they get fewer points, it makes it harder to, get an A in the class. So print them out, get a 3-ring binder, and put them all in there each week and take notes during your lab section. Cool? Sound cool so far? Yes, please.
I got a question. Is this one of those classes where each lab you have like a quiz at the end or at the start?
That's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for asking it. Mark does a little quiz at the beginning on a slip of paper of like, what are we doing in today's lab? I do online assignments for each lab. Not for week 1, but you'll see that beginning in week 2, there will be a Canvas assignment, all right? It's going to be a quiz based on material in your lab. It's in the group lab handouts. And it's going to be a lot of multiple choice, drop-down menus, things like that. Okay? The goal is that the assignment should grade itself, because I don't like the variety in how TAs grade lab assignments. It ends up being some are harsher graders, some are gentler graders, some might misunderstand the assignment. And instead of dealing with all of that, I prefer that there is a weekly Canvas assignment that is completely, non-biased. It's all multiple choice. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Awesome. Oh, and it's open until like Sunday of the week that you have the lab. Yes, first and then second, yes.
Should that be done before or after the lab?
After the lab, for sure. Do this after the lab. It'll be open until Sunday each week. So you come to lab. So here's your streamlined process, right? You download and print the handout. You sit and watch the pre-lab video, making notes on your handout. You show up to the lab. You listen and make additional notes as you do your work recording data in your lab handout. After the lab, you complete the lab assignment at your leisure before 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. And you should be able to complete it very easily if you've got the lab handout all annotated and filled out. Solid? Awesome. Oh, one last thing. There will sometimes be questions on the lab handout, and you're not turning that in to your TA, right? But often the questions here on the assignment will just be reworded versions of those same questions. So completing all of the questions on the handout is highly recommended and is very useful, especially when you hit the exams. I got a few questions floating out there, so let's get you first. Yes?
So is this open note, or are we just supposed to do the lab and then memorize everything and then do it?
Open note, open notebook. What I want you to learn is that the lab is meant to prepare you for working in a biology lab. And in a biology lab, you keep a lab notebook. So I want you to be prepared like, oh, if I have a well-organized lab notebook, answering all these questions is simple. That's my learning objective. So it's all open note, open notebook. Anything on Canvas, it is fair I'm going to assume that some of you will use the internet to answer the questions, right? So it's not fair for me to say, don't do that, it's not open note, because that's just going to reward people who, don't stick to that guideline. So use whatever resources that you want when you're completing these assignments, but the best resource will always be the protocol, because that's what the assignments, exams, quizzes are all written from. Did that make sense? I know I ramble.
No, that makes sense. But I also have another question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So we don't turn in our labs.
No.
We just do these quizzes to show that we did the lab, but we keep our labs
That's 100% right. Everybody heard that? Got that? That you don't have to turn in your labs. You just keep them all together. Solid. Okay, wait. I think I have a hand at the back. Let's get you. Yeah.
Will the structure of all the this is where this assignment goes and this is what you do this day, will that be told to us again as we're doing it for at least the first couple weeks? It's like a lot of information.
It is a lot of information, and yes, it will. But here's the way to deal with the course. Each week, just go to the weekly module. I've worked real hard to try to get every assignment into your assignment calendar and your to-do list. So it should be pretty difficult to miss if an assignment's coming up that's going to be due. But everything you have to do each week is in the weekly module. So at the start of the week or the weekend before the week starts, you just go to the module, you go like, okay, what do I have here? I've got John's PowerPoint's going to be in here. Here's the laboratory materials. There's a quiz, a reading quiz. There's a chemistry review worksheet. That's for the lab, I guess. Here's some extra videos for Lab 2 concepts. And then I've always got audiobook recordings of your assigned readings. I don't want to get too off topic because that's about to come up in a moment, and I will run out of time so quick. I just love talking. That's why I love this job. But I think that there were hands up that I missed. Who had a hand up? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, go for it. Goggles are available in the lab. You do not need a lab coat. 2, yes.
Do we need like an official lab notebook, like the chemistry lab notebooks, or is just a regular?
Anything works. As long as it's a non-electronic source. I've had students come in with just a big Ziploc bag full of paper. And I'm like, yep, that's your lab notebook. And you'll learn the lesson of it's better to have a better organized lab notebook. Also, the Rose House has free 3-ring binders for students if you need a 3-ring binder. I got one ahead of you. Yes. Wait. Yeah. Most of them have 2 attempts. They're the ones that only have 1 attempt. It will clearly say that there's only 1 attempt. And those are ones where it's like, I really want you to be prepared going into it. I'll make that apparent. For example, we've got like a lab midterm quiz, and we have a lab final review quiz. And both of those are single attempt. I want to know what you know. I don't want you to be doing any, I don't want you to look at it and screenshot it and then take some time before your next attempt, or process of elimination, the questions with a group in the library and something like that. You know what I'm saying? Solid. I got one ahead of you. Yes.
Will the goggles for lab be provided, or do we have to purchase them ourselves?
The goggles are there. There's a big tub of them, so there'll be plenty, and there's enough pairs for everybody to have some. If you want more comfortable goggles, you can get your own goggles. I like to get they sell like safety goggles that just look like swim goggles and have a big band. They look pretty dorky. They look like, what's that, the guy who runs fast in X-Men? Flash works. But what's this called? Quicksilver. You know how Quicksilver puts those goggles on? You can get a pair of those, and those won't fog up, and they're pretty comfy, cozy, but they do make you look a little silly. But you're gonna be wearing goggles, so you're gonna look a little silly, and that's okay. So yeah, to answer your question, goggles will be available. You don't need a lab coat, but lab coats are available if you want to use one to protect your clothes. Oh, closed-toed shoes, because somebody will break glass. You don't want to cut your toesies. Yes, and then yes. Yeah.
Is it just the lab quizzes that are 2 attempt, or is it all the quizzes that are 2 attempt?
Everything that's almost everything that is on Canvas has 2 attempts. I consider the Canvas assignments as sort of encouraging you to engage with the course regularly. And if you take 2 attempts, then you're engaging longer. You're plugged into the course. You had to look something up somewhere probably. Maybe you opened up a textbook, and that's all great. There will be points that test what you have in your actual head coming from the in-class exams, which are in-class, multiple choice, on a Scantron, fully objective grading. You know what I mean? Solid. I got another one coming up. Yes. If I'm understanding correctly, Are you asking if all of the pre-lab videos are going to be relevant to that week's lab, or?
How the videos are similar to each other in the sense of like first part, second part, third, like broken up into like an act.
Oh, I understand. Not necessarily, but they'll all be 30 minutes or less, and it'll cover, and it usually will be structured as, here's some background information, and here's what you're doing in this week's lab. But, you know, they're not entirely consistent like that. Yeah. Yes, please.
So any quizzes or test assignments on campus, it sounds like they're all open note.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything where we either did the test here or in the testing center, no notes.
Yeah.
Just all from your head.
Yep, except for the lab final, which is open lab notebook. Yeah, of course. Let's look at the syllabus here for a minute, because I think a lot of these questions will be ironed out here. Man, I'm so excited to get into our lectures too, but we're not going to do it today. Today is just orienting ourselves. It's all good. Okay, here's the course, the times, the location. There's the labs. There's your instructor emails for your TAs if you need to reach out to a TA for whatever reason. You can totally come and talk to me if you have any lab questions. I've taught these. This is my, I think I figured out it was my 12th or 13th time teaching Biology 105. So I'm getting better, you know? I'm getting pretty good at these labs. They've changed, but you know. There's me, office hours, boom. We talked about that. We're good. Prereqs, yeah, great. 3 hours lecture, 3 hours lab, great. SI, instructor, contact information, the course number, great. It's all right there. Textbook, Campbell Biology. I've had to read a lot of textbooks, okay? I have to vet a lot of textbooks for the mini courses that I've constructed and taught, okay? Campbell Biology is like my favorite textbook ever. It's the only textbook that I consistently referenced when I was writing my own publications and doing my own research, all right? Because it's got great background information on all of these different topics. Campbell Biology's solid. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to get a copy. Campbell Biology is so popular, there's usually some way to find a Campbell Biology for cheap or free or something like that. I don't endorse that. I love the textbook companies. I love the publishers. They're great. Pearson, please, give me some swag. I want a pen that says Pearson on it and a lab coat, all right? But I'm going to be using any edition from the 10th onwards, fine. Technically, you could get away with a 9th edition or an 8th edition. They do this really fun thing where they keep the material identical from edition to edition, but they just shuffle the chapter numbers so that it makes it complicated for me to assign you readings. I love it. I love those companies, okay? So if you don't want to get Campbell Biology, you know, I have made recordings of every chapter that I assign to you. So there's reading recordings in each week's module. Like I want you to read chapter 1 and chapter 2. If you already read them, great. Or you can just click right here in the Canvas app on your phone while you're commuting to work and like, let's see. That's
Actions of organisms are all based on the functioning of cells.
thrilling.
For instance, the movement of your eye.
So there's 2 reasons I do it this way. 1, it proves to you that, hey, I assigned you the reading. I did the damn reading. All right. 2, the more you hear my voice, pedagogical studies tell us that the more you'll trust the information I give you. So you listen to me reading the textbook and your brain's going to be like, huh, John's got good information. I should remember and retain the things he says, you know? So I'm trying to trick you. Get my hooks in there, you know? All right. We're still rocking this. So there's the textbook. It's great. It has all sorts of like practice questions. There's 1,000 copies in the library. Not 1,000, but there's so many copies in the library. If you're trying to like prep for an exam or something and there's a topic you don't understand from lecture, you're like, I still don't get photosynthesis. Just go check the textbook out and read the chapter on photosynthesis. Give it a shot. Just give it a try. Try it. Try it once. If you hate it, never do it again. It's fine. All right. Points. Where do you get your points from? Here's where your points come from. Everybody loves points. Here we go. Reading quizzes. There are 12 reading quizzes. These reading quizzes are based on textbook materials. Sometimes I will ask you questions about things we did not talk about in lecture. Or I'll go in more, the question will be more in depth. However, you've got 2 attempts for these reading quizzes. They are open note, open notebook, open book, whatever, all right? So these are those engage with the course content. If you're doing the readings or you have Campbell Biology, it's gonna make these easier because the questions come straight from Campbell Biology, basically. All right, so we've got these reading quizzes, 120 points come from there. There's a lab midterm. In order to make my labs sync up with Mark's labs, I moved my lab midterm from in-person to online, meaning it's open note, open notebook, but try to do it with your lab notebook because that will help make sure that you're prepared for the lab final. The lab midterm's only worth 50 points, all right? There are lab assignments with almost each week for a total of 220 points. Point values for each one vary slightly, but tend to move around 20 points each, okay? Lecture exams, I do 3 exams with you, okay? 3 midterms at 75 points each. I'll give you plenty of heads up when these are coming. They are in class. They are multiple choice. You do them on a Scantron. I process the Scantrons and usually have your grades posted by the next day. Cool? Question?
How many questions will usually be on the lecture exam?
25. Yep. All of the midterms are 25 questions, and you do them in the 50-minute periods. You have 2 minutes per multiple choice question. That's, usually what they consider as a reasonable amount of time. Where if you've looked at it for 2 minutes and you don't have it, it's probably not there, right? And 3 points each, 75 points total. Solid? Yes.
So reading quizzes.
Yeah.
Are they? I may have missed it, but are they going to be online or in person?
Online. Reading quizzes, these are all online. It's a good amount of points, 120 points available. Multiple attempts, open note, open notebook. These are points that are just like, you can get, these are like effort points. Yeah.
And these are every week.
Almost. There's only 12 of them, so it's not every week. But they'll be in the module if there's an assignment. And they'll be in the schedule, which we'll look at in just a second.
Sounds good.
Awesome, I love it. A question, yes? Yes, yeah. I've got a few, but with classes of these sizes, I can't keep. One semester I bought them all, it ended up being like $180, and I just can't do that. Plus, you can get free Scantrons from the testing center. You need Scantron 882E forms. Those are the hot dog ones. They're like tall, green. All right. You need 4 of them. It's cool to get them now. If you've already got some friends or people you know in the class, then you can buy, a larger packet of them from an online retailer and, get a better deal that way. Yes, a question, please.
They also have them at the Rose House.
And the Rose House has them as well. That's awesome. Yeah. So you should be able to get away without buying Scantrons if you use the resources of the testing center and the Rose House. Solid? You've got one right there. Yeah, well done. That is what the Scantron looks like. Very good. And there's also third-party ones that, save you a nominal fee, nominal cost if you don't want to support the Scantron Corporation, which I don't know. I don't know what they do. All right. So lecture exams, 3 midterms. It's a lot. They happen boom, boom, boom pretty rapidly. Lab final, it happens in the last week of lab during your 3-hour lab period, right? It's I got some short answer questions, all sorts of stuff. It's basically like the questions that you're going to see at the end of each of your lab handout. Yes, handouts.
Do the labs normally go for all 3 hours?
Not normally, but it varies. Some labs we go right up to the end because there's, say, a lot of steps where you're letting something incubate for 30 minutes, and then you have to let it go on ice for 15, and that starts to eat through our time. Or we'll hit a bottleneck of we have to all use the same 96 well plate reader up in the core, and that, slows it all down. Yeah. So expect to be there for the full 3 hours, but be pleasantly surprised when regularly you get to leave half an hour early. Yeah. Additional questions about that? Okay. Lab final, lecture final, total points 875. So look at my pie chart here. The lecture exams are about a quarter. The lecture and the lab final, you add them all together, that's about half of the points. So you can get 50, so these are all of the, this is the real what's in your head portion. You can totally fail this and still pass the course if you're really good at organizing your information and accessing it when you're doing assignments. That's my goal here. In my classes, I like a C plus to be attainable if you can put enough time into the class. Some people have a brain that'll really grasp these concepts, and that's solid. Do more bio, that's great. Some people won't, and that's not worse, that's just different, and that's okay. But trust me that if you communicate with me and keep talking to me about resources you need, we can get you through this class. We can at least pass you through this class. All right? I usually have pretty good passing rates. Solid. Any questions about the pie chart, the point breakdown, anything like that? Grading's pretty, straightforward. Standard issue, letter grade. I do pluses, I do minuses. All right? Extra credit options may be available. What I mean here is one time in the semester, if you fail one of these exams, okay, you can do an extra credit assignment once per semester. So if you get under 70% on one of those in-class exams, okay, you can come and talk to me, and I will give you the assignment, which is essentially you write me an essay about all of the questions that you missed on the exam, and you get back half the points you missed. So if you got like a 30% on the exam, now you have a 65%. So it turns a failing grade into a passing grade. One time, because there's bound to be one exam, that maybe didn't go so well. Question? You are darn right. You're darn right you do. Check this out. If I scroll down to week 5, when the first exam is currently scheduled, all right, about a month from now, I guess, there's an exam 1 study guide. And here's what my study guides look like. They're lovely Word documents where I have put a bullet point relating to every topic on the exam. So check this out. This list is comprehensive. There's nothing on the exam that is not on the study guide. But sometimes the study guide bullet points will be a little bit vague. Like if you look at that first one right there, all right? Excuse me, pardon me. Pardon me, sorry. Like if you look at that first bullet point right there, all right? Similarities and differences between bacteria and eukaryotic organisms, that's because the first question on the exam is like, hey, listen, what do you and E. coli have in common? Select the thing that's correct from A through D, right? So, you want to know all the differences right there. Clear enough? Here's my guidance for you. Here's a recommendation, a piece of advice. Download this document, go like this, make space underneath each bullet point, and then just bring this to lecture. And then, as you're taking your notes in lecture, if you're like, oh, wait, doesn't John have something about similarities and differences between bacteria and eukaryotic organisms? Be like, make some notes. And be like, so do both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have ribosomes then? And I'll be like, yes, they do. And you can write that in your study guide. See what I mean? It's just a recommendation. You don't have to do it. All right? Okay, so I do have study guides. There they are. I've already got them all written. I'm going to change exams a little bit, but just the same topics are going to be covered. So the study guides are already available for every single exam. You could get them all printed out and organized if you wanted. If I ever change one, I will make an announcement and let everybody know. Sound good? I got 1, then 2. Yeah?
You might have already mentioned this, I don't know, but are you posting the slides you go over in class?
Yes, I am. They will be in the weekly overview. So like week 1 overview right here has, yep, the PowerPoints. And I try to make everything all the questions that I have answerable from the PowerPoint slides. Awesome. I had another hand up, right? Yes.
How early do you suggest we start filling up the study guides?
How early? I mean, it'd be great to start on Wednesday. If you really want to just crush these in-person exams, just get that study guide printed out with the space and bring it on Wednesday, because I'm going to be talking about the domains of life on Wednesday, and I'll talk to you about, those are those bullet points. That would be great. Yeah. Additional questions? Okay, we got a few more minutes. We got 4 more minutes. Let's go ahead and get through the syllabus. I talked to you about the extra credit option, late policy, late assignments are considered with permission. You got to talk to me if you miss a due date. Give me heads up if you need to assign, if you're going to be out of town or something. That's the best. Communication with me is key. You'll find that I can be pretty flexible, all right? But my patience will eventually run out. If you ask me to reopen every assignment for the first 5 weeks of lab, I will eventually be like, I'm sorry, this is too many. Also, your TAs will be taking attendance in lab, but you are not getting points from attendance. But I will be able to access a Google Sheet where I can see everybody's attendance. This is good information for me to have in case you come to me with a bunch of lab questions. I'm like, hey, you should start going to lab. You know what I mean? Just so you know, show up to labs, it'd be great. Okay, learning objectives, course requirements, all pretty boilerplate, standard issue stuff. Since we're nearing the end of our time, let's just look at what you need to do before Wednesday. It is basically nothing. Read chapter 1 of the textbook, or listen to me read chapter 1 of the textbook. It would be awesome if you checked out the lab materials, downloaded and printed your handout, got access to that study guide and printed it out so you could already have some guidance for what material to be focusing on. And then by the end of Sunday at 11:59 p.m., you need to have the quiz for chapter 1 done. That's all we have to do. So we're going to come back here on Wednesday. I'm going to crack open that first lecture PowerPoint, and we're just going to start getting into material. Sound good? If you have last-second questions, come down up here and talk to me. I have office hours after lecture today from 12 to 1, and I'd be happy to have a more in-depth discussion with any of you here. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
You're awesome, by the way. You're a great
Oh,
lecturer.
thank you. I appreciate it. It's because I haven't eaten. I have low blood sugar. Yeah, that's the secret. You want to talk class stuff?
Yes. Are you going to teach this course during the summer?
Yes. I teach it every summer. So if you can't get into this one, then the summer I do a 5-week session, and we meet for 4 days a week, and we just crush Bio 105. And last summer and the summer before, everybody passed. So that's a great option if you can't make since we have those scheduling complications. Okay.
Good to know. Thank you.
I'd love to have you in summer school.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, what can I do for you? Oh, let me stop recording. There's no reason for me to keep recording everybody walking by here. Excuse me. Sorry. All right, cool. Stop.